News First, Newsline Prime with Faraz Shaukatali.
And a splendid evening to you. This is Newsline Prime, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in downtown Colombo. And what a lovely, magical evening it is. Lovely weather, and it's wonderful to be alive on this wonderful country of ours. And amongst all these politically turbulent times, finally we see some signs of change, and it's always country first. Our country first, as our news signage says. Our country first. And there's been a gentleman who's been part of our political culture for a very long time indeed. And no, I'm not talking about that one. You might think that I am. But it's somebody else. He's been here a long time. And today he was here early morning and he's here again this evening. His input is quite valuable. He's right here. The former parliamentarian minister, former chief of COPE, the first person to ask for a presidential commission of inquiry into the bond scam. Mr. D.E.W. Gunasekare, very good evening to you. How are you?
Good evening, Faraz.
It's wonderful, and I really, on behalf of our group, thank you ever so much for being here. I know you were here on Patika early morning, and bundle the turf you out of bed, and you're here again. Thank you.
Thank you. That's so.
Now then, Mr. Gunasekare, wonderful things happen. In this sea of turbulence, I want to play you this clip of somebody that we all know. Shall we listen to it? Here we go. Now then, actually, could we play that clip again? Because I really want to hear it again. Can we play it again? It looks like, finally, Sajid Premadasa is able to say what he's able to say. But that sounds like strong messages coming out, especially in a time of political crisis when we need leadership. That's what Sajid Premadasa had to say today at a very well attended rally. But earlier in the day, the former president and the current prime minister, Mahinda Rajapaksa, had this to say in a parliament that was completely out of order. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Antri urat, agamati urat, nikam Mahinda Rajapaksa urat, Mahinda Rajapaksa Mahinda. Ataka diya ganne. Ata meka loku naha. Yaata lokui mata loku naha. Mම මේක ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. ජනාධිපතිකම් කරලා තියෙනවා. අගමැතිකම් කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ අගමැතිකම කියන එක ලොකුවක් නෙවෙයි මට.
Even plain simple Mahinda Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa. Now then, all this of course has happened because of this political crisis, Mr. D.E.W. Gunasekare.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you would permit me to ask you 2 or 3 questions which will hopefully open the lid and of explanation. I'll keep my questions brief so that your answers can be as detailed as possible. Number 1, the President did a few things recently. The first, of course, was that he removed Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Prime Minister and appointed Mahinda Rajapaksa instead. Was the removal and then appointment was either or both illegal?
It's within his power.
The President is using his power.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
It's in the Constitution and he's done it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's the first question. Second question. The next thing that happened in the sequence of events was that President Sirisena, using his constitutional powers, went for a proroguement of Parliament. Was there anything wrong with that?
It's perfectly within his power.
Perfectly. Again, within his power. All right. Third one. The President then issued another presidential proclamation, a Gazette notification. He went for a dissolution of Parliament and laid out the terms of the dates and so on for a general election. Anything wrong with that?
Nothing wrong. Only thing is sometimes people raise the question whether it was done in good faith. So I think the Supreme Court might
yes, but I want you to answer just the question, whether the issuance of that Gazette notification was
legal. It is perfectly within it. There's no question about it.
Right. Now then, these are the questions that follow. Now that dissolution was challenged and the Supreme Court went into a holding pattern. They want 3 weeks to make their minds up and for the case to be argued on the I think the 5th, 6th and 7th of December.
Yeah.
Right? 3 days. Now then, when we are in a state of holding, they haven't cancelled the dissolution. They didn't say yes or no. They said we're going to hold it, a temporary hold, about 3 weeks. Now, when that happens, does that mean that we revert to the proroguement of Parliament?
You know, really, it's not that way. The petitioners' demand was that to declare that Gazette notification null and void.
The dissolution.
Dissolution.
They didn't speak about the proroguement.
And the Attorney General took up the position, dismissed the petition, forthwith, there's nothing. President has all the powers.
Indeed. And they also very specifically said don't go for an interim order.
Yeah.
They said that too.
So I think normally a petition comes, there's a question of constitutional amendments and constitutional interpretations are there. So naturally, I think the 3 judges I feel that it would be necessary for them to go for a bigger bench, since it's a bigger issue in the country and the world at large. I feel that they would have thought it best not to either dismiss it altogether,
not to treat it
lightly, and inquire into it in response to the demands of the petitioner. And in fairness, probably, I feel that there might be a 5-bench or 7-bench.
What was the whole point of then rushing into reconvening Parliament then? On the 14th?
14th.
They went.
No, when there's a demand from the people, some various people, the President, I think, responded to it and tried to reconvene as an earlier date. That's only what he decided.
Yeah.
And it's quite fairness. I mean, he responded to that, the people's view.
All right, okay. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Why all the colourableness in Parliament then?
Colourable is motivated by either other political reasons, in my view.
Yeah.
I think because question arises the first decision of the President.
Which is?
It went off unchallenged.
What
the first thing was removal of Ranil Wickremesinghe and appointment of Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Yeah.
I do not know why Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe did not go to Supreme Court.
At that time?
At that time. Yeah. He is making all sort of speeches saying that all illegal and unconstitutional and on earth.
And then ask
But that is the proper authority to decide whether it is validity constitutionally to go to Supreme Court. But he kept quiet.
But doesn't the Speaker know that that is the way it's done? Because the Speaker, if I remember rightly, went to the Attorney General and asked him for that.
He has no right at all. That is not his job.
Right.
Speaker.
Oh, the Speaker's
The
not.
Speaker's job.
And it was the wrong people to ask anyway, because the Attorney General doesn't give rulings.
I don't know
on the
whether
Constitution.
Karujasur in his personal capacity as a citizen, ordinary citizen, whether he tried to more. He can't go to AG. AG.
But they wrote a letter.
Yeah.
And the
I don't know.
AG replied and said that it was inappropriate.
No, he had been all through. I have observed in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
He is behaving out of turn.
The Speaker.
The Speaker. And this is the first instance, as you reminded me.
Yeah.
It's not it's not his job to see whether the President's actions are correct or not. That is not his job.
His job is to do
Yeah.
as is told by proclamation.
Israel instructed Ranil Wickremesinghe to go to courts.
Or
Instead.
advised. Would it have been all right for him to advise him?
I mean, as a party man, not as Speaker.
Right. But then as Speaker, you must forget that you're a party man.
Yeah,
You must be independent.
No, I have associated myself with about 10 speakers in the Parliament. Right.
And
have studied the performance of all, right from Sir Francis Malamure up to Karu Jayasuriya. And of course, Karu was a colleague of mine in the cabinet, and I had great respect and still have respect.
Yeah.
But I never expected that. And he was a little out of tune. I don't know what made him to something.
why do you think he departed out of tune?
Maybe I think he failed to resist to pressure.
Failed to resist the pressure.
Brought to bear by his boss probably, party boss.
I was going to ask you, who would have exercised pressure on him?
There's no other reason for me to believe other than that.
I say, okay, pressure from somebody somewhere. All right, then, so why all this business in Parliament? You know, they behaving, I don't know, like hooligans.
There is a political culture today prevalent. And all Parliament, of course, is throughout, all local government institutions, and it's a long story. Starting from, the President Jayawardena's first 1978 Constitution, number one, the neoliberal economic policy is number two, and the electoral system number three. These three joined together had completely changed the political culture of our country over the last 40 years. Gradually, step by step. Today we are in a position, we have mainly, the constitutional, we are having a constitution where, the president is head of the state, head of the government, head of the cabinet, head of the armed forces, all powerful. Right? But on the other hand, President Jayawardena, with all that power, with all his fights his majority in Parliament, he went ahead and commended the Constitution 16 times within 10 years.
In spite of all the power.
All the powers. With Pfizer. And two presidents subsequently, only Mahinda Rajapaksa had two-thirds. No one else had two-thirds majority. Right? So he also changed the Constitution once. So the 18th Amendment. Right. Others, of course, didn't have a majority, therefore I think Chandrika and others.
They fell into line.
Went into line. But the main reason that we are facing a very deep and profound crisis, economic crisis, and economic crisis emerging from a financial crisis. It has led to a political crisis. It's reflected in the society and the culture. And now it has led to a constitutional crisis. Having failed to solve some of the political problems, we have ended up with so that is the reason why, because our national issues remain unsolved. Unfortunately, we are in today 70th year of independence. We have failed completely to even bring about some sense of unity as far as the national questions are concerned. Still. So, leave alone the economic questions, of course they can't bring about any. That is what President Siri said. Because this is on single issue, 2015 presidential election, or a single issue election.
Single issue election.
All various forces whose policies are diametrically opposed got together for a single issue purpose, objective, that is to have a change on the president. But having changed it, they forgot the fact that they have to run the government. There is no unanimity or consensus as far as economic policies are concerned. So it is a case of daggers drawn, president and prime minister for the last 3.5 years. And the people of the country have suffered. They are unable to come to any sort of even some understanding on the issues. That is admitted by the president today. And on the top of it, now there is a charge of attempted political assassinations. These are some of the issues. So it went as far as within a matter of 3. But for you know, in that 100-day program, on the 50th day, there was the biggest central bank robbery taken place in the, never in the history of the world economic history, that a central bank received, there was such a scandal taking place in the highest echelon of banking, state banks, central bank.
On Newsline Prime, we invite you to send us your questions by SMS, 0772 300 305. Don't call, please send us an SMS only. Thank you. And yes.
So all the crises are coming.
One after
the
another.
other.
And one of the questions that we've just received, the viewer says here, please tell us, the people, what now from here?
Now, of course, I don't see, there's no other salvation, way out, other than a general election.
Another question. It's relevant to what you're saying.
Otherwise, you know, a civil war, if I put the word war, or a general election. See,
another question. It says here, could you please ask your guests if they could not have waited for another 2 weeks and defeated the budget, instead of plunging the country into a mess as it is today? In fact, why are they in such an indecent hurry? Why can't they wait for the Supreme Court?
Now, this easily waited, and December 7th, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
They would have waited for the judgment.
What is this indecent hurry?
I know there's a main reason, probably, and this the internal power struggle of the UNP is getting reflected in the parliament.
Internal power struggle, right, I see, okay. Right. But because there is a saying, isn't there, gentlemen are never in a hurry. So obviously they've forgotten that. Are they not gentlemen then?
I mean, that is again, you know, a question comes as, still I am at a loss to understand why Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe did not go to Supreme Court
on the issue of his removal.
His removal. That amounts to admission that the President had the power and he has justified and done it. My uncle said this.
Yes.
Otherwise he would have run, gone to...
Earlier when we were having a chat, you said that it's apparent that the President has all the power. You've just said it as well before. So when you read the Constitution as a whole and not in dismembered parts, as Mr. Carnegie said in court, you know, he drew the unfortunate parallel with Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi Arabian journalist. But, you know, he had a point. You can't read the Constitution in bits and pieces. You need to read it as a whole, not in dismembered pieces.
So many interpretations have been made if you read the papers.
Yes, but
academics and lawyers. You know,
there's about 15 million experts on the Constitution now.
Yeah, right. But I was making a list of all these people who are making various interpretations.
Yeah.
And I found that almost everyone is making his own interpretation based on his political convictions and his own political views. Basically. Right. So we all can continue to argue about, but finally, the authority which has the power to interpret the Constitution in the Supreme Court, so let us wait till December 7th.
Right, and the authority, and then let me ask you these questions. Who can appoint the Prime Minister?
Prime Minister can be appointed by the President only, no one else.
No one else?
No one else.
Right. And who can convene Parliament?
Parliament, no, after prorogue, only the President can convene the Parliament.
Right.
Right. Then the only power goes back to the Speaker.
Right.
The Speaker.
So has the Speaker forgotten this, or is he?
Not only that, he was for the first time. We had about 15 speakers, I think, from St. Francis Malmuri onwards. Never have I heard that there are media conferences by the Speaker.
Yeah.
Issuing media communication one after the morning, evening. Never. A Speaker should be above politics.
Our questions are coming in thick and fast. Is Sri Lanka a parliamentary democracy or is it a presidential democracy?
It's a presidential. This is one of the issues that will come up.
Yeah.
No, we had executive presidency. It's a Republican form of government.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now we brought in 90th Amendment. Right?
Yeah.
And aimed at transforming ourselves into a parliamentary system. But we are now halfway.
Yeah.
Right? That is why originally most of the people have forgotten the fact that there is a intention of the 2015 presidential election that to bring in the 90th Amendment followed by 20th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, to abolish, the view to abolish in the executive presidency. Mm-hmm. So they stopped halfway.
With the 19th.
Right. So as a result, the power vested in the president has still remained. Supreme Court has already given a judgment that his prerogative powers cannot be removed without going for a referendum.
Yes, it said the contention of the Attorney General was that the plenary powers of the President cannot be changed without a referendum of the people.
Because the President is the only person who has been vested with constitutional powers by the people direct. No other person in the country. I mean, I am not in favor of executive presidency.
Yeah.
That is another thing.
Yeah.
But the law remains.
Yes.
So long as the law remains, you have to abide by the law.
Yes. And we have another question to say that the 19th Amendment hasn't been done properly, and that is why we are having this crisis. Do you agree?
I agree. I was one of the persons who were participant in that discussion.
Yeah.
When the 19th Amendment bill was presented in Parliament,
Yeah.
second reading was over, then it came the question of third reading, the amendments time, and the opposition and the government could not come to any understanding as on the amendments.
Yeah.
And there was a big tussle. The president of the country, for the first time in our history, he had to come from president's office to the Parliament and sit with the MPs, both government and opposition, and with the Prime Minister, and I was one of the participants. We were discussing to bring about a compromise. At one stage, Ranil Wickremesinghe walked out. Right? All the left leaders walked out. Myself and Dinesh Gunadhara, we remained, and with the President we tried to persuade and bring about some compromise. At that stage, what happened was probably some of the things that they had in their mind probably could not be put into that amendment.
Yeah.
That was the reason. So there's the difference between the Sinhala version and English version.
Yes. But let me please clarify this. We've only got 4 minutes. Please clarify this. The Sinhalese and the Tamil versions is the Constitution, and the Sinhalese will prevail over the Tamil in case there is a discrepancy.
Yeah.
And the English version, which all the Western diplomats seem to be having, is merely a translation of the Sinhalese.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So therefore, this English one doesn't count. It's the Sinhalese one that counts. Is that right?
Probably they've tampered with the English, forgetting the fact that the original should be the Sinhala. They forgot to do it.
Is it fair for the international community to come along and start commenting about...
No, the interpretation audience will have to go by the Sinhala. That is, it's quite clear.
Right.
So there's no question about it.
But is it fair for the...
Ranil also work in English now, and he also did. Our Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, he also went by English, forgetting the fact that the real one is the English one.
Was it forgotten or was it deliberately forgotten?
No, they made the necessary amendment with the English, but they could not do it in the Sinhala. The Sinhala is the original. What happened? There's a big how in the parliament, UNP parliamentary group.
I'm going to take this one message. Shame on the speaker who has acted in a very partisan way. Who is it that can remove the speaker?
The speaker can be removed by MPs, no one else.
Right.
President can't remove a speaker. Only MPs can do it.
But is this fair public comment that the speaker has acted in a partisan way?
What did evil on the paper? I, as one of our former cabinet colleagues, I have my, you know, yesterday, not today, yesterday.
Yeah.
All party leaders agreed on an agenda. Right. Immediately after the prorogue, when the parliament is reconvened, there was only 2 items in the agenda.
Yeah.
One, President's message should be read. If the President does not come, because there were occasions in the past where President did not come, President's message just read out.
Right.
So here in this case, the President didn't come and address. So the message was read out by the Secretary General. I saw it. That is number 1 item in the agenda. Number 2 was immediately after that.
Yeah.
This has been the practice throughout from 1947. Right. To adjourn it and then reconvene on the following day. Right. And when the leader of the House stood up, moving adjournment, then suddenly Sumandiran moved for an amendment, they wanted bringing standing order suspension.
And, you know, it's country first, and that's what we aim to do. I think that should be the aim of all the people in this country. But Gunasekare, the time is up. Thank you ever so much for being on Newsline Prime. We really do appreciate your presence and your invaluable thoughts on this matter. Thank you very much. Sorry. And that's the way it was on Newsline Prime. Remember, country first, and that's what we try to do. Do watch our news, because we, in half an hour's time on TV1, will give you all what happened in Parliament today and a little bit more. Take care, good night, and God bless.
News First, Newsline Prime with Faraz.